In April 1912, newspapers around the world were full of the tragic story of one of the most famous ships in history, the Titanic. At the time, the Titanic was the largest passenger ship in the world. It was nearly 900 feet long and over 170 feet high with 9 decks. It was owned by the White Star Line. The Titanic left the port of Southampton on the south coast of England on April 10, 1912. It stopped briefly at Cherbourg in France and Queenstown, now called Cove, in Ireland, and then started her journey across the Atlantic towards her final destination, New York. The Titanic was carrying about 1,343 passengers and 885 crew members. The trip to New York was its maiden voyage. Some passengers, in first class, were rich and famous. But most second and third class passengers weren't rich. They were people from across Europe traveling to America to start new lives. The story of the Titanic is so famous that everyone knows how the voyage ended. Just before midnight on Sunday, April 14th, as she was sailing towards the coast of North America, the ship hit an iceberg and was badly damaged. 2 hours, 40 minutes later, the ship sank. Tragically, there weren't enough lifeboats, and only about 710 people survived. In 1985, the wreck of the Titanic was finally found at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, 2.5 miles down. 100 years after the Titanic sank, people are still fascinated by its story. But while there are hundreds of books, television programs, and famous films about the ship's short voyage, many people still know very little about where the ship came from and the people who built it.